For this video, I will divide up skill groups in 3 different categories: Basic, Advanced and Expert. Basic is when you have never touched a quad before and you're still learning the basics of acro. Advanced is when you have flown before, but you are not very confident that you're a good pilot yet. You still want to learn much more about flying, but you have already flown acro in either the simulator or real life. Expert is when you're pretty confident about flying. You would be comfortable flying outside or flying one of the intermediate tracks in the DCL simulator. The timestamps for all of these different categories are now shown on the screen. So first thing you need to know is that on the bottom of the screen you can see my sticks at all time. You can see my right stick with my pitch, moves the quads forward and backward. With my roll, which moves it to the right and to the left. With my yaw, which pans it from the left to the right. And last with my throttle that controls the acceleration of the quad. Make sure that when you press escape and you move over to the flight modes, make sure this is set to acro mode. When it's set to acro, the quad will not change altitude or change orientation without you putting it in. It will not self-level or do anything for you. When I first boot it up, try to sustain a somewhat level while going forward. Do this by pitching forward just a little bit until you're in a nice position, and then it's all rolling and using your yaw. Move around the fields just till you're comfortable. If you feel confident enough, you can try to go through one of the gaps that are many of on this map. Practice this until you're comfortable. You do not need to change your altitude or any crazy stuff at this point. Just try to stay level, try to go around some things, have some fun, explore acro mode. Once you feel comfortable with the basic maneuvers in acro mode, you can slowly step up your game. Go under some smaller things, go over them, and try to combine them. Make sure you have a short time period between doing difficult stuff. So while you refers to one difficult move and have had a long time preparing for it, now try to do it more and more closer together. A good way to practice roll and yaw control is by trying to stay level while turning. This will after some time become natural, the mix between roll and pitch. Try locating the chimneys in the middle of the map. These are located roughly in the middle. By going around them in a slalom pattern, you become used to using these together. It doesn't have to look clean, it's all about learning at this point. Now that you have the roll and yaw control combined down, you can try to do only roll and only yaw moves. For example, go over something and roll back underneath it. Of course, in the beginning this will look very weird, but you can also do this by doing what we previously did and lowering the throttle. If you feel comfortable doing this and you are ready for a new challenge, try following one of the trains that drive around the entire map. It might look simple at first, but staying right behind them can be very challenging, especially if you're very new to the hobby. Try to keep your throttle and sticks as smooth as you possibly can. Flying smooth is way faster than having very high throttle percentages. Now for the advanced guys, I would recommend focusing on the perfect line. Going very fast at this point is not worth it. Try to fly very smooth. For example, when having a move like this, where you have to go over it, try to do it as smooth as possible, rather than going completely full throttle. While flying going smooth is usually way faster, even though it might feel slower. But this makes it easier to fly faster, since you feel like you go slower. For example, take this move as smooth as you can, rather than as fast as you can. Furthermore, I would recommend, when there is a corner upcoming, try to steer into the corner as early as possible, and just give a little bit of throttle to actually go into the corner when it's needed. This is way faster, but might be a bit harder to master and takes a lot of practice. Make sure that you can always see where you're going. At first this might seem very difficult, but seeing where you're going is very important, as you can imagine. Doing this by flying tighter and not faster is a very good method. On the lags track, you can do a few nice training exercises. For example, try to go through these without hitting them, as long as you can. This will give you quite interesting throttle control. It's very useful. Just come over to this little thing and hover around here. Now wait for the cards to roll by. Just staying here steady is very difficult, but it's really good for your fine controls. If you want to spice things up a little bit and make it more difficult, you can try to do a yaw spin in between. This will basically reset your previous position. If you really want to learn how your quad works and what your exact camera angle feels like in all positions, I would recommend playing with some inverted movements. It doesn't have to be very crazy, but just if you can do basic moves like this, it'll already be very good practice. On the rear track, there are a lot of places where you can practice this behavior. For example, these little walkways are great to practice some upside down or sideways flying. This is a very good practice even though you like racing more. This will get you to know your quad even better, and I know it is a simulator, but this is worth it. It does translate to real life, although not as efficient. With that said, I recommend that you fly as smooth as you can. Flying smooth is way faster than trying to do this forever. With that said, it's also very important to link every move together. I know it's racing and it's all about getting the fastest to the next gate, but doing everything smooth makes it way easier for you to keep track of what you're actually doing, which in turn makes you faster in flying. Don't go grinding for too long. It's not very healthy and it will actually not make you much faster. It's way better to go fly for a bit, do something else and come back to flying. It's way more efficient if you want to get fast. It's really important right now to learn to control your quad very exact. Getting through a gate is one thing, but try to do even smaller things even faster. For example, this building in the building area is very nice for practice. It has lots of windows without glass in them. Go through them while doing it smooth. This will make you a very more controlling of your quad. It is difficult at first and not easy to handle, but if you get the hang of it, this will really help your flying. If that's still very difficult, don't worry about trying something bigger. It's all about stepping it up. Even if those are very small steps, doing a bit better than last time is improvement. Find smaller places to go through, but keep in mind that you have to keep flying smooth. If there's a specific move you want to practice, for example, you want to train diving, find a place where you can really control diving into things. Do this a lot. Just practice it, play around with it. You're not always gonna hit your perfect line that you can do. You have to be able to adapt. You're not always gonna have your perfect line, so being able to adapt to it and make small changes is very useful. Of course, you have to make sure that your control over your sticks is completely full and you have complete freedom while flying. If you don't have this yet, so do some freestyle in some tight spots and don't be scared of doing it. It doesn't decrease your performance, it only makes you better. For everyone, flying is different and I cannot exactly say what's best for you. But in general, practicing flying as in a free movement and being free with your quad does translate into racing very well, and it's a good practice. Don't be shy of trying new things and do what's ever best for you.